So I've had the opportunity to work from, with age groupers all the way through the pros. But these are the real stars right here. These are guys that, coaches and people, wonderful people that have helped me help them, and I will always need them. So if you don't mind introducing yourself in just a tiny bit, because they're going to rush us for time, about something that you've seen me demonstrate, or anything that you can say, because it's going to help them to understand that if they train and they do these things, that they're actually useful, and it actually does happen out in the real world. And by the way, there was a photo in there of Kyle, and I was hypnotizing, 40, 50 kids in there? Yeah, I do a lot of large groups of swimmers. But I asked him at the same time, because I've been priming the unconscious mind, been doing a lot of things to prime the unconscious mind in that talk. And I simply asked him to focus on an Aquafina bottle. I talked about this in my the certification class earlier. I just had him focus on the A on the Aquafina, and I was moving around, and I would get closer, and he dropped, went over, and it was a wow moment for the athletes. So things like that are really fun for us to do. So. Yeah,
and I think that was kind of fun that the first time, I guess my first experience being hypnotized was in front of the 40 or 50 swimmers that I coached. Wasn't exactly sure how to react thereafter, because they had plenty of jokes for me. But anyways, I am Coach Kyle. At that moment I was coaching with the team, Loggerhead Aquatics, and then at the moment I'm with Planet Swim Aquatics. We really enjoy having Joni come out, and whether it's just the charisma that she's able to bring to them as individuals, and I thought it was kind of telling when she brought up, and I don't see him right now, but you never know what kind of compliment you're going to get when you see Joni. You just know there's one coming, and I think that's kind of telling of the kind of attitude that she brings to whenever there are interactions, and then just being able to define that spectrum. Obviously, having that experience, whether it's her daughters or the other athletes that she's worked with Jon Sakovich or Marcos, and not just swimming. I mean, there's a volleyball coach right here with us, and regardless of what sport you may have, she brings a lot to the table, and defining what is some of the most essential characteristics in developing these athletes.
So my name is Jon Sakovich. I used to be the head swim coach over at the Bulls School for 4 years, and ended up coaching there for about 18 years. I'm in the process of taking a break, a mental break as needed. But the mental side of coaching and the athletes, we've all experienced it in our own lives where we've needed help mentally. I personally went to this good-looking man over here for some help for about a year, and kind of some mental coaching, which I needed in my job to help me process information and be able to perform day in and day out. So I definitely understand the purpose of it. I think anything that a hypnotist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or any person can come in with this mental aspect and bring it to an athlete, that's just another tool in their toolbox to help them succeed. One quick example, this last year, our girls' high school team has won 28 straight high school state titles, and in the middle of the season they got beat by their biggest rivals in a dual meet. So obviously mentally they're thinking, are we going to be able to continue this streak? Can we do it? So Joni was nice enough to come in for a couple sessions and just help them clarify their thinking and help with the distractions. Because when they're at the competition, we as coaches know that they just need to get in and swim. But there's that mental aspect of so many distractions that we want to help them focus so that their body can do what it needs to do.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Marcos Lopez Miro. You can call me Marc. I am an ex-swimmer. Now I use float. We are used to Now I don't even touch the water. But I want to talk about two things very important that Joni talk about it, but we don't realize. If you have been an athlete, you'll know. The first one is, when you're an athlete, you work very hard, and you don't work hard only maybe a couple of years. You work hard many years. I come from Spain. I used to swim when I was, 12, 11, and I started doing double practice, maybe at 14 years old. So I'm from Barcelona. So I was going every day, and I was living out of the city at that time, with a motorcycle, 5 a.m., 5:15, to practice. And then you go to school, and then you have another practice. Swimmers, we practice in the morning, in the afternoon. For how many years? So the point is that there are so many people, so many athletes, student athletes or athletes. It doesn't matter if they're going to become great or not. I was never a great athlete. I have to confess, my brother was, I was never. But anyway, the point is that you get to work very hard. And you get to a point in your life that you know that you may be great, like Olympics. Like in the Olympics, you have 2 or 3 guys, no, 5 or 6, they could be tops, except Michael Phelps, of course. But you know that you could be medalist, but you never get a medal. And what happens then? You know, you keep going through life. So at the end of the day, after sports, you have a life. And whatever you have done in sports, mentally or not, because it has an impact. You know, how you related to your coach, what did you learn from your coach, from working with other people. So at the end of the day, whatever you did is going to change, or is going to make your life. So that's very important. So I met Joni around 10 years ago. I was just traveling through Jacksonville. My brother was living here. And she helped me a lot. I'm a coach and a consultant. I used to work for management consulting firms. I left that job. I'm a coach and consultant for high performance. So Joni gave me some books. Not just helped me for the business, but personally. And through the years, I knew that she had a passion for sports. So we started working together. And because my language skills, even though I'm American now, for the last few years. And it's amazing how, I don't know if it's hypnosis or not, but I feel more American than Spanish, so it's strange, you know. Maybe it's because you go to every sport event and you hear you hear that, you see the flag and all that. But anyway, the point is that we're working now with Joni to bring all the skills together, and not just in English, but translate them into Spanish. So I'm pretty happy, because I think sports, especially swimming, but in general sports, at the high school level, college level, they don't have nobody. And they have so much pressure. So I'm very excited to start working.
And Marc just spent 3 days training with Joe and I,
yes.
And he's going to become a hypnotist, which will help your coaching. Kyle is going to do the same, and I believe Greg will find out in just a moment. So then at the end of this, we will all three, and hopefully many of you work on Jon as well. So, no, he's doing great things. Jon's helping me write parenting, the parenting part. So we are going to hypnotize the parents, and I did that. Yeah. So thank you so much for that.
My name is Greg Mosely. I am the women's volleyball coach at North Greenville University. It's a Division II university in South Carolina, and also the owner of Upstate Volleyball Club. It's a club of about 100 athletes, ages from 12 to 18. Joni has been gracious enough to provide team talks to both my club organization as well as my 12 returners on my collegiate team. And that's where I want to focus just a little bit right now to tell you some results. I've had the privilege of working with Joni on developing now a mental toughness guide for volleyball. What she's had, and from that, and what has been an outflow of that, has also been a subjectivity test for recruiting using convincers to put recruits into a situation where how they respond to those convincers. And the reason why we had that dialogue, because some of my players, as she did this in the team talk, some of the players I had difficulty coaching technically were resisting those convincers. And it gave me a lot of insight. So that's something that has developed. But through the rough draft of the guide, I began basically just scratching the surface. And we began to do post-competition evaluations. We had 3 play dates this spring with my collegiate team. And the first one went pretty well. We did a post-competition evaluation. made some pre-goals for our next match. Went into the next match, and I mean, we sucked. It was awful. It was awful. I was awful. And we had a post-evaluation time frame after the match that was verbal rather than written. And they shared some very pointed things with me. I shared some very pointed things with them, and there was a lot of great dialogue and interaction. And from that, they came from the guide with some of the goal-setting opportunities. We came together before our last match. I came up with 6 goals as I dialogued with them, wrote them down. I had this brilliant idea. I have a mobile whiteboard. I took those 6 goals, wrote them on my mobile whiteboard, put them behind my bench and I did not interact with them other than just praise during the match. Because I'm an intense coach. I'm very active. I'm a competitor. And I felt like I was putting pressure on them during the process of competition. So there was a lot of praise during their play. If there was a timeout, I pulled them out of the game. If I needed to correct something, I would correct it then. But every time we had an in-between set, every time we had a timeout, we would come over and we would review those goals. Now, I won't go into it. We were unbelievable. They didn't want to stop playing. It was incredible. I had my post-spring competitions where we go over their things they need to work on, summer workouts. In doing so, I'd ask them the question, what do you feel about the mental side of things that we've done this spring? And every one of them, without question, went to that last play day. They said, Coach, this is it. This is where we need to be. I loved what you were doing. I loved our team. I loved our energy. I loved what was going on. And basically, it was a result of Joni's influence through those talks and through her written material. And we're just scratching the surface as far as the things that we're getting ready to do with our team. And we're very excited about it. And what has been great, I would ask them, you felt like the whole team was on board at the beginning. We had some skeptics, Coach. They weren't real sure about how to receive what she was saying and about what you were doing. And at the end, they're all on board right now. So we're very excited about that.
And you know what the greatest part is? You're on board. So subconsciously, you are coaching a different way, right? And we do that. So thank you for that. And I am wrapping it up, so I know you're excited about that. And I want to do it this way. I hope, I have decided for the first time to train other hypnotists. And I want to put you on my umbrella if you're really, really passionate about doing this. And if you're willing to have that passion for their success, and you're willing to put in the work to do it, then I would love to have you and put you on my website, because I know people will trust you if I say you're okay. Because obviously, I hang out with really amazing people. And I mean that. I mean that. And you are all amazing people. You just have to figure out how to feel that and translate that and communicate that into the work that you do and get better and better at it. So I hope you'll join my team. You see that I have a team. I get all kinds of information. I'm information rich from coaches and athletes and parents and officials and all kinds of people. And I really appreciate having that resource. And I hope that you will work with me and use me as your resource, because I promise you, you want this and you will love it. Thank you for having me.
Yay!